My name is Sanya Twasam. I'm the student of University of Bolton. Now, welcome everyone into November to Remember series, where we have amazing guests in all the months. And today our special guest is Mr. Sandeep. He is not feeling well today, but we have a representative who represent Mr. Sandeep and also also give us a huge introduction and our today talk about research collaborations and he is Mr. Jyotir Moy Chatterjee. And we today our topic of talk is research collaboration. So today we have too much to learn about research, and they have a tremendous knowledge about research representations. And today we have Sam Johnson, head of School of Creative Technologies. So we hand over to you, Miss Sam Johnson, to and welcome her to talk about.
Good evening, everyone. I'm looking forward to hearing the introduction regarding Dr. Chatterjee. Obviously, we want to send our commiserations for Dr. Sandeep, and we hope he gets very much better very soon. But I'm sure it's going to be a great talk all the same. So I believe this is the last of the series. And it has been in November to remember. And I know many of you, I can see your names, have been with us for many of these talks. So I'm sure this evening will be a fine conclusion to what's been a very stimulating, both intellectually and practically useful series of talks throughout this month. So I'll hand it back to the hosts, if that's okay, so you can introduce our guest more fully. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you later.
Thank you, Sam Johnson. And now I'd like to hand over to my co-host Rehan to introduce our today's guest speaker.
Hello everyone, good evening. I hope you all are well, and welcome to November to Remember series. As my co-host has said already, I'm here to introduce our today's guest and the presenter. So our today's guest was supposed to be Mr. Sandeep Kotish, who is not feeling well. We have our well wishes for him. May he gets well very soon. So I'll give a brief introduction of him and the presenter as well. Mr. Sandeep Kotish is working as a professor and dean academics with LBEF campus, Kathmandu, Nepal, running in academic collaboration with Asia Pacific University of Technology and Innovation, Malaysia. He is an academician by choice and backed with 17 plus years of work experience in academics, including over 6 years in academics administration in various institutes of India and abroad. He has meritorious academic record throughout his academic career. He earned his bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree in computer science on intelligence system in social networks. He holds postgraduate diploma in management also. His areas of research interest are healthcare analytics, business analytics, machine learning, data mining, and information system. He has more than 60 publications in his account, which includes research papers, articles, book reviews, etc. His research papers can be found at Computer Standards and Interface, SCI, Elsevier, a Journal of Ambient Intelligence and Humanized Computing, SCIE, Springer, Wireless Personal Communication, and Journal of Intelligence and Fuzzy Systems. He has authored and edited more than 20 books with reputed publishers such as Springer, Elsevier, Wiley, De Gruyter, and IGI Global. He is an editorial member and reviewer of various reputed SCI, SCIE journals, such as Computer Communication, Elsevier, ACM, Transactions on Internet Technology, Cluster Computing, which is on Springer, Neural Computing and Application, which is on Springer as well, Journal of Intelligence, Manufacturing, Multimedia Tools and Applications, Computational Intelligence, Australasian Journal of Information System, International Journal of Decision Support System Technology, International Journal of Image Mining. He has been invited as keynote speaker at VIT Wellers Q as university ranking with 801,000 in 2019 for an international virtual conference. He filed one patent in the field of solar energy equipment using artificial intelligence in 2019. He is highly cited researcher with a Google citation score as 450 plus, with H index and I-10 index as 12 and 16 respectively. He is a recognized academician by as a session chair PhD, thesis supervisor, and external examiner at various international universities of repute, such as University of Kufa, University of Babylon, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, University of Madras, Anna University Chennai, Savitribai Fulpon University, MS University, Trunavale, and various other technical universities. Now I'll move on to the brief introduction of his representative, who is Jyotir Moy Chatterjee. He is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Information Technology at Lord Buddha Education Foundation, which is Asia Pacific University of Technology and Innovation, is in Kathmandu, which is in Nepal. Before this, he has worked as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science Engineering at G.D. Rungta College of Engineering and Technology, which is in Chhattisgarh Swami Vivekananda Technical University in Bhilai and India. We had many guests from India as well. So he has received MTech in Computer Science and Engineering from Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, Bhubaneswar, Odisha in 2016, and BTech in Computer Science and Engineering from Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute in Chennai in 2013. His research interest includes machine learning and deep learning. He is also the young ambassador of the Scientific Research Group of Egypt, which is SRGE, and Bentham Ambassador for 2021. He has been selected as the top 1% peer reviewer in computer science and Publon's Global Reviewer Database in 2019, powered by Web of Science Groups, and is also a Publon Academy mentor. So I would like to hand over the mic to Mr. Jyotir Moy, and I hope we'll get lots of knowledge from him. So let's start.
Thank you for the warm welcome. Good evening and namaste to all present over here. So today I'm going to give a talk on the topic research collaboration. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So let me start with the research. Today's topic is research collaboration in modern era. So this is my short profile, although they have discussed lots about me. So this is the short thing what I can show in terms of short profile. These are my publications, including journal papers, books, and then thesis, patent, everything. Right. Now let's start the topic. While talking about collaboration in research, like earlier times, this kind of things were not that much there. Peoples are doing individual kind of research, but now in the modern era of starting from 2010 to 2015, 2020, this collaboration in terms of research and development is widely used, because nowadays people's only single person is not enough to manage all the things, like writing research paper or conducting the research. So it is distributed in a number of sectors. Some people are doing the writing work, some people are doing the proofreading work, some people are involved in the development of research papers, some people are some people are doing the actual experimental and implementation related parts. So while talking about the collaboration, collaborative research is defined as the Research involving coordination between maybe researcher to researcher or institution to institution collaboration, company to different organization kind of collaboration, and or any kind of community collaboration. So the collaboration or cooperation can bring distinct expertise to a particular project. Like while talking about the collaboration, peoples from different organization, they are having expertise in different kind of things. So when they are collaborating, so finally the outcome, maybe it is a research, maybe it is any kind of development, maybe product development, maybe any kind of thing, it will be something different, something, the level will be something very higher, right? So most critically important scientific issues in terms of innovative technologies can often be solved by working together. Individually doing the things will take a very long time, whereas while talking about the collaborative thing, it will be resulting the things in a different way. Maybe it is going to take very less time. Maybe individually by doing a particular kind of research, like while writing the research paper, implementing it, then collecting the result and everything, it will be taking maybe more than 6 months or maybe sometimes a year, depends on the type of research is conducted. But while collaborating, that means taking expert guidance and taking working with multiple peoples, maybe the research time will be getting very less that time, right? So the merging of different fields can make possible achieving of incredible goals. So now let's see more details about collaborative research. It can be defined as research that is conducted by more than one researcher, right, or research team either within a same institution or colleagues from different institution. While talking about the collaboration, maybe you are working with your different departments of the same college, or maybe from different organization, or maybe from the academia and industry, right? Various kind of collaborations can be there. It depends on what type of work you are dealing with or what type of collaboration you are having. Now research is nowadays research is going in the interdisciplinary dimension, like peoples. Like if I talk about one of the scenario, artificial intelligence generally used in all sectors. So what if you are audible? Hello.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Please
Yeah,
carry on.
yes, it's okay. So nowadays this interdisciplinary thing is there. Like if you are working with some kind of healthcare sector, maybe the research collaborators, some people are from IT domain, some people are from healthcare domain. In this aspect, the healthcare peoples are having expertise in the healthcare sector, whereas the IT peoples are having expertise in the IT sector. So while collaborating with this healthcare and IT thing, peoples will be getting a very good outcome at the as the end product. So again, funding agencies are moving towards funding more translation research in every field. Where, if I talk about the funding agencies, right, they are also checking about kind of project the particular team has given funding for. Then who are the collaborator, who is the principal investigator, right? These all factors are checked while giving the funding or releasing funding of any of project. Then large volumes of data, right, are being generated, which requires specialists from multiple disciplines to collaborate in analyzing the data and using the data beneficially. Again, collaborations are easy to develop and sustain than they were before. Nowadays, with the help of various kind of social platforms, maybe it is LinkedIn, maybe it is Facebook, maybe it is through any other medium, right? You can easily get the details of people who are working in which area. If you know a particular people, you can check the Google Scholar profile. You will get the details about the person, like what are the works he is doing, what kind of works he is doing, and in which area he is having expertise, so that you can get their details through Google Scholar, or you can check the person's LinkedIn profile. You can get their email ID, right, or any kind of contact medium, maybe phone number, and based on that you can contact the person to check whether they are ready to collaborate or not, right? So nowadays, with the help of this social media, the things are getting more and more easy. Now, while talking about the classification of collaboration, there are various types of collaboration. Maybe it is voluntary basis, maybe it is consortia, maybe it is federation basis, maybe it is affiliation or any kind of merger basis. So in a nutshell, these are kinds of the collaboration possible. Now, maybe while talking about this collaboration, members of various research group or maybe peoples from different different department from the same organization working together in a particular project. Maybe some no external funding is involved and the work is divided reasonably and equally between the two groups. Although funding is not there, but still peoples are collaborating in equal means. That means all peoples, whoever are working, they are working together. All the workload is going to be equally balanced between each of the member. So all those involved meet regularly to review their progress and plan for publication of their result. Maybe this meeting can be your face to face. If you are working in the same organization but in a different department, maybe you can have a face to face meeting. Or maybe if it is in a different organization, you are in a particular organization and your collaborators in a different organization, you can have a video conferencing or any other kind of telephonic discussion kind of thing. Or maybe the discussion communication can be via your email and all. Another thing is like a researcher from a private company works with the research group of an academic faculty member for several months. So during this time, this non-academic researcher, that means the person who is working in the private company, pursues his own project while learning about current techniques. This can be also possible. Like the person is working in a different company, he is associated with some of the academic faculty as a team, and they are collaborating in their work. That is also a possible kind of collaboration. Apart from that, in order to complete a large data collection for which a senior researcher has received federal funding, the researcher has organized a collaboration with 3 junior faculty members who were the previous graduate students of that particular faculty. This kind of collaboration is also common now. In order to learn a new technique, a graduate student travel to another institution, like exchange programs, research exchange program, with various universities are nowadays supporting this kind of research exchange programs. So each time they stay for 2-3 weeks and participate in the research of the other research group. Maybe in their institution they are working in a different research group, but similar kind of research is being conducted in a particular university where the person is traveling, right? So maybe they are getting associated with that university's similar kind of project what they are dealing currently with their current institution. Needing an analysis of the effect of a new compound on living planet, a researcher who is only familiar with laboratory analysis contacts an agricultural researcher. They meet at a conference, they agree to each other carry out their own analysis of the new compound and then combine their result for publication. This is also possible. Interdisciplinary, one person is from biology department, one person is from agriculture. So this is the interdisciplinary kind of research. Now, next is to gain a more global perspective on a public health question. A collaboration among 10 research groups in 6 countries is established. All research groups independently apply for their own funding. The collaborators agree that all data collected regarding the question they are studying will be made available to the entire collaborative as soon as the graduate student most directly involved in gathering of the data for their completion of their dissertation. That means 10 research groups from different countries are collaborating. So collaboration can be done in some peoples are distributed their responsibility. Like some peoples are involved in the analysis, some peoples are involved in the writing, some peoples are involved in the data collection and data gathering and data analysis. Likewise, this is a one of the example, multidisciplinary example of collaboration, because it is a very big collaboration, 6 different countries with 10 research group, right? Apart from that, while talking about the levels of the collaboration, it can be disciplinary, means peoples are working in the same area. Maybe like I am working in computer science, sometimes I collaborate with peoples from uh, healthcare sector, sometimes I collaborate with peoples from the security sector, they are working, people's working with the privacy and security sector, right? That is coming in terms of disciplinary, because all are related to computer science. While talking about the interdisciplinary thing, like I am from computer science fraternity, I am working with some peoples who are in the medical or who are in the agricultural field. That is coming in terms of interdisciplinary. Multidisciplinary, maybe some peoples are from computers, some peoples are from medical, some peoples are from pharmaceutical industry. So likewise, that thing is called in terms of multidisciplinary, followed by transdisciplinary or national or international. Like some peoples are from India, some peoples from Nepal, some peoples from any other country. Likewise, this interdisciplinary, or it is called as transdisciplinary. Maybe it is in a national level, maybe the collaboration will be in terms of an international level. It depends. Now, while talking about the establishment of any kind of collaborative relationship, so it requires all participating members work together towards a common goal that has been agreed by all the parties. If all peoples are working for different goal, then definitely the research is not going to be completed anytime, right? All need to work on a particular interest, all need to work on a particular aim, right? So that they can target the work, and based on that accordingly they can work. Each member of the team is considered an important part of the team, and that they understand their role and the expectation from their activity. All the peoples are during the collaboration, during the very initial phase, made aware about what is their role in the particular kind of work, what they are supposed to do, who is going to do the data collection, who is going to do the data analysis, who is going to do the writing of the particular research paper, or who is going to do the final proofreading and all, right? Each thing need to be distributed to the peoples at the very beginning, so that there is no issues at a later position. The interactions are based on trust, respect, good communication, and the ability to compromise. So trust here in this particular thing, in terms of collaborative research, trust is very important. If you don't trust your peers, your co-authors, then definitely there will be no solution, because everyone is going in a different direction, right? Now, like any other agreement, there are basic details that need to be considered and agreed upon prior to the start of work to make the project beneficial for all parties involved the collaboration. The first, some of the things that needs to be very clear during the very initial phases are what are the common goals. The particular collaboration is done for which purpose, what they are trying to achieve, what is their goal, what is their aim. Next is what is to be exchanged through the collaboration, how they are going to collaborate, who is responsible for doing what kind of thing. And again, the very important thing is what is the deadline, how much time they are going to take for completing the particular role, whatever have been assigned to them. Next is how will the work and any product be shared. The final product, suppose you are doing a research, the final end product will be a software module. How you are going to share that software module with all the team members, how they are going to work, all of them, how they are going to work. Next will be how will any fund available be shared and spent, how the funding will be distributed among the peers, right? Next is how is responsibility. That means who is going to take the credit, who is going to develop the product, who is going to develop the research paper, who is responsible for the publication of the research work and all. And next one is what are the timeline for each goal. That means how much time each person have been assigned for completing their work, how much time for writing the literature, how much time given for conducting the experiment, how much time given for the data analysis kind of thing. Next is negotiating collaboration agreement. So while talking about this, many of the institutes, even in the corporates also and colleges also, they are having their formal agreement for doing this kind of collaboration. They are signing MOU and all for this kind of collaboration thing. Right. Negotiating agreement is essentially the art of compromise. In addition to the research goals, there are other institutional and regulatory requirements that each participating team must address. Maybe you are collaborating, you are working in a particular university and you are collaborating with some other from different university. Now, both the universities are having their own rules and regulation for collaboration. Now, both the parties must adhere to these rules and regulations. When negotiating agreement, it is best to address as many of the critical elements prior to stating the project. Postponing issues on which there is considerable disagreement to a later date is unlikely to be resolved easily. So if any kind of issues are there, in any kind of prior problems, critical discussions will be there, that needs to be immediately resolved, and based on that the agreement will be done. Now, while talking about the agreement, there are various kinds of agreement possible in terms of collaborative research. Some of the agreements are kind of subword agreement. This kind of agreement is related to between an institution that has sponsored agreement. That means the funding agency who is considered as the prime awardee and any other institution who is called as the sub-recipient to which it transfer a portion of the work. That means how the sponsored agreement, how the sponsored agency, that is the prime agency, is linked with the or collaborating with the other institution. Another type of agreement is the teaming agreement. It is at the time of funding a proposal submitted to an external sponsor, third party sponsor. The collaborating institution may execute a teaming agreement. The purpose of this type of agreement is to indicate general agreement on the work relationship, purely related to the particular work in which both parties agreed. Based on that, this teaming agreement will be made. Another kind of agreement is the collaboration agreement, which is kind of similar to that of teaming agreement. Collaboration agreement are executed between institution irrespective of whether sponsored funding is anticipated. While talking about the other type of agreement, it is the intellectual property agreement. It is one of the important kind of agreement. As indicated by the agreement name, intellectual property agreement are narrowly defined. Typically, intellectual property agreements are written to cover inventions or other discoveries that may result from a collaboration. For example, of this kind of agreement, suppose you have collaborated for your research with a particular organization. Now, organization is funding you, also providing the resources. Now, whenever you are going to develop the product, maybe the company will be telling the product will be registered in our name. So whether you are agreeing to this kind of thing or not, for this reason, this intellectual property agreement will be required. So during the very initiation of the research, if you can discuss the intellectual property agreement with the particular company, then the things will be very clear. Once you have developed the product and after that company is claiming the product will be registered in my name, that will be creating a particular problem, right? Another few kinds of agreement are data sharing plans, how you are going to share the data, right? Next is material transfer agreement. This kind of agreement covers the situation in which one collaborator owns research material such as a chemical compound or a biological substance and has received a request from another collaborator for samples of the material. Right. Transfer agreement. This is material transfer agreement. Next is facility use agreement. When a particular researcher from one institute wishes to use a piece of equipment or laboratory at some different institute, the latter will often require that a facility use agreement is executed. So you are working, you are associated with a different institute. Maybe in your institute, a particular laboratory is not there. You want to conduct the experiment on that laboratory. Maybe another institute is having that particular laboratory. So the facility use agreement is the agreement which is going to make the things more clear. You are from a different organization you are trying to work with, whether they are providing this facility to you or not. Next is the consulting agreement, which is a collaboration, may be formalized through a consulting agreement. Although consulting agreements are not typically compatible with collaborators as we think of them. Liabilities. So in case of any damages associated with the research work or any kind of development work, whatever you are doing, is a concern of institution executing agreement related to the collaboration. How the liability will be undertaken by the particular work, whatever you are carrying, how your prime institute, the institute for which you are working, how they are making this liability for damage association, that needs to be again checked. So this is also coming as a clause in terms of your agreement. Now, apart from that, another golden rule is the communication. Without communication, communication is the very basic thing in terms of collaboration. If you cannot properly communicate, what you are going to do, how you are going to collaborate with peoples, right? So communication amongst the team members, it is considered as a very important factor for any kind of association or any kind of collaboration. So communication often and early throughout the project, or establish a formal communication structure for reporting on the progress, discussing problem or challenges. Immediately you are facing any kind of issue, you communicate with your peers so that the works are not getting held or the works are not getting stuck. Everything is going on a smooth basis. Right. So a key component of the communication strategy should include the notification, how you are notifying to the team members if any problem you are facing, how the teams are going to connect, whether they are going through email kind of discussion, maybe face-to-face discussion, or maybe telephonic discussion, or maybe your any kind of discussion in your social media, like kind of platforms like your LinkedIn and all, how you are communicating with your peers, because communication is important. Without communication, you are going to wait for person X. Maybe person X is having the research result, person X is waiting for person Y. Maybe the experiment was conducted by person Y. So it is going to create a deadline, never ending deadline. Everybody is stuck for getting the resources from other person. Right. Now, next is the roles and responsibilities. So it is very important to have a very clear understanding and agreement on the roles and responsibilities of each member. Who is responsible for doing what kind of thing, who is going to deal with which kind of work, right? This should include a clear understanding of the leadership, who is going to lead the work. There should be a clear understanding by all collaborators as to who is ultimately responsible for leading the project and what are the powers vested on the individual or individuals if there are co-leaders. Suppose 5 people are working in a team, who is responsible for doing all the things, right? Who is going to check whether all the things are going on track, who is going to keep track if the things are going to work or not, properly working or not. Suppose if I talk about a research based project, then this role, principal investigator, is going to make this kind of leadership role. He is responsible to check whether the works are properly done by the team members or not, and whether the correct outputs or correct outcomes we are getting. What are the milestones, and how each members are going to be reaching the milestone, whatever they have predefined. Next is team member. Similarly, there should be clearly defined rules how each and every member in the team is going to work and what is their responsibility. They must understand their responsibility. They must undertake it honestly. The specific rules would depend on the scope of the project as well as the expertise of the individual. Suppose a person is very good in terms of analysis. If you are giving that person to implement the system, maybe it can be creating a drastic result. Right. So whoever is having expertise in whichever area, they must be taking the rules accordingly. Now, next is the authorship plan discussion. So the discussion related to issues for publication arising from the collaborative research in advance and document the agreement. So that in a latter phase, when you are starting a particular collaborative research, any kind of hindrances or any kind of issues must not arise. That is the reason people are going with agreement. Right. Nowadays, this MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, universities are signing MOU with each other. Some universities with some companies are signing MOU. The major concern is related to the research and development. Right. So the right to publish, like including the thesis publication, next is who writes which kind of thing. That means based on the particular role of the person, what he is supposed to be doing, what he is going to give, right? Who makes the presentation of the result? Suppose you are working in a team of 5 members. So in these 5 members, all peoples have different roles and responsibilities. Now some people is having the responsibility. Suppose you are making a research paper and you are trying to present your research in a particular conference. Now some persons will be involved in doing the research work, some people will be responsible for writing the research paper. Now some persons will be responsible for presenting the research work. So who is going to take charge of which particular act, that needs to be understood. Another very important thing is the order of the author. Who is going to be at the first position, who is going to be the corresponding author of the research paper, who is going to act as the second person, which place is going to be given to which person, right? That needs to be again discussed at the very beginning. Acknowledgement of those who are not authors but have contributed to the research, this is also required. Like in terms of research paper, many of the times might be you people have seen acknowledgement given to the funding agency or acknowledgement given to the particular organization who has supported the work. Maybe they have provided some kind of resources, right? So that kind of acknowledgements are given. Next is the very important part called as intellectual property rights. So these intellectual property rights are very complex, critical, and specifies vary from one institution to institution or country to country. Every country is having their different kind of intellectual property. It is extremely important for the collaborator to discuss the IP issue with the responsible individual at their institution before entering into or starting the collaboration work to make sure that their rights are protected. Now, while talking about this intellectual property, this is not a very short topic. This is a very big topic, right? It will take a separate session for continuing this intellectual property, right? So we'll discuss that thing in later phase. Next is the data management, data sharing, and data ownership. So while talking about these things, how the data are going to be collected for whatever research you are conducting, how you are collecting the data, how you are managing the integrity of the data, privacy, security, everything that depends on the whole research team. Suppose you are working in a team of 5 members, by mistake, one member has breached some kind of laws in terms of agreement. Maybe all the parties have agreement with the particular research for the particular research. Some person in the particular group has breached any kind of integrity of the data, then the whole group will be responsible. It is not that the only one person who has involved, he is going to be responsible. It is the responsibility of the whole group. And most importantly, the PI will be responsible for doing this kind of thing. Because of his improper guidance, he has not taken the things properly, and that is the reason this kind of scenario happened. So next is, what is the ownership of the data? Who owns the overall data? When and how the data is shared among the team members? Which person is responsible for taking care of the data management? Right? What are the security plan, backup plan, and how you are going to manage or record the particular data? These are all the important factors that needs to be mentioned in the agreement in advance before collaboration. So in agreement, all these things must be mentioned. Next is conflict of interest. This is one of the very crucial thing. Again, it is a separate topic and very big topic, cannot be discussed in a short time. So a conflict of interest is a situation in which a person or organization is involved in multiple interest, finance, or otherwise serving one interest could involve working against another. Typically, this relates to situation in which the personal interest of an individual or organization might adversely affect a duty owned to make decision for the benefit of the third party. Generally, if you are submitting your research paper to a particular journal, definitely they are going to ask you a clause of conflict of interest. Now you need to mention whether you are having any conflict or not. So while talking about this, the research team member should clearly disclose any potential conflict of interest that may have or may be perceived as having influence on the integrity of the research, right, and the data generated. So the government organizations are very strict about this conflict of interest. They are taking this thing in a very serious manner. Right? So if you are having any kind of conflict, you need to disclose it. Right? Keeping the thing for a latter purpose is not going to help you out. Now, facilities, equipment, and supplies. A collaborative agreement should clearly define the contribution of each member. Because each member, suppose 5 members are there, 5 members are responsible for doing some kind of work. Each member is having their own responsibility in doing the work, right? In terms of supplies, equipments, or facilities. So each collaborator or team should be realistic on the availability of facilities and equipment and consider other activities or active or planned projects using same facilities and equipments. Now, how to go with the conflict resolution. So these conflicts are not every time you have planned about this kind of scenario may arise. This can be an uncertain scenario. It can arise any time in a particular project, during your research or during your project collaboration. Any time this kind of conflict may arise. So you need to go with the conflict resolution methodologies. So there are various kind of styles and personalities of individual are involved in the project, right? Different approaches by different specialists on a multidisciplinary research work. So challenges encountered during the project and their causes. So this kind of conflict may arise if your communication is not proper. That is the reason communication is considered as one of the most important key portion of your collaborative work. If you cannot properly communicate, chances are very high you can face some kind of critical scenario, or maybe some kind of misunderstanding between the team members that can also lead to some kind of conflict. So you need to properly discuss and communicate so that some kind of issue may not arise at a later position, right? So if you are going to keep quiet, so it's not going to help you out. You need to talk about it, and if you can discuss, definitely there will be a solution. If there is a problem, you discuss with your peers, there will be a solution. If you are not able to solve it, if you are going to keep quiet, nobody is going to help you. Next is the benefit of collaboration are undeniable, and collaboration is the best spirit of science. Right now, the collaboration is going in a very high rate. Nowadays, people are not that much interested in doing individual work. You can see any of the research related projects. In that particular project, peoples from different countries or peoples from different disciplines, right, are working together for a fruitful and successful outcome, end goal. So establishing a collaboration can leave scientists vulnerable to the action or inactions of their collaboration. In choosing collaborators, trust and credibility are essential values. If you cannot trust your peers, definitely there will be a problem. At any point of the particular collaborative work, any kind of conflict may arise, right? Trust is the key point over here. Choosing collaborators must be based not only in terms of the scientific consideration, but also on the likelihood of respectful, even amicable relationship in which lines of communication can be kept open. Apart from that, while talking about collaboration, some kind of problem may arise while talking about that in the conflict. So maybe the potential issues are approaches to credit and responsibility sharing. Who is going to deal with which kind of thing? Maybe my PI, I'm working in a project of 5 member, my PI is assigning a particular role to me, right? But I'm not okay with that role. So in that case, you are taking the role and after completing the work, you are telling I am not able to do this kind of thing. That will be creating a havoc situation. So it will be required, if your PI is assigning you a role, if you are not clear with the role or if you are not comfortable with it, immediately discuss with it, right? Or sometimes in a research work, suppose 5 or 6 members are there, maximum effort you have given, but while the research paper is communicated to a particular journal, you have seen that you have been placed at the 6th position. So this kind of scenario, right, arises. How you are going to solve this scenario, that needs to be discussed. Next is collaborators who don't want to share data or reagents. Sometimes what happens, maybe you are working in a team, but your team members or peers are not sharing the data with you. If they are not going to share the data, how you are going to prepare the research paper, how you are going to discuss all the things? So this is another problem. Another kind of thing is disagreement over when to publish or how to handle IP. Who is going to handle the publication thing? How they are going to place the thing? Like, you have done maximum effort, you have given maximum of the work, maximum time, but you have been placed as the 6th author. Right? Collaborators who is slow or don't follow through, or difference in standard of proof, or any kind of difference in research style or culture. Like initially you have not you are working with some company and you have not initially discussed with the company, like once the product is developed, who is going to be credited with the product? Is it the particular person who has involved in the development, or is it the company? Once you have completed the development, once you have done everything, now while the patent publication time came or the paper publication time came, company has taken all the credit. This is not a, again, this is not a good practice. So these all things must be made clear during the initial agreement. Another kind of thing is, while talking about how the thing of collaboration works, is like, what are the implement requirement? That means justification at each and every point. Focus, clear focus on what you are doing and why you are doing. What is the need of doing that thing? Who is the in charge, right? Based on whose decision you are doing this implementation. Some guiding agencies there, right? Someone out of a team of 5 members, somebody is definitely going to guide you. Okay, this thing is not going in a correct way. This thing is not going in a correct proper way. So who is going to guide you out of the 5 member? Who is acting as the principal investigator, right? What are the impact on sizes and logistic? So every time what kind of cost is involved, or what kind of product, final product you are going to be getting. Now communication, again I'm talking about communication. every time communication is playing a very important role. Maybe you can communicate with any kind of media platform, social media platform, email, face-to-face meeting, or video conferencing meeting, audio meeting, any kind of meeting. But communication is required at each and every point in terms of collaborative research. Next is, while talking about implementation requirements, right, we are based on the previous thing, how the research design will be made, how you are going to conduct the work, how you are going to decide what could be the possible way of doing the research, who is going to write the paper, who is going to do the data analysis, who is going to implement the work, who is going to make the presentation, like how the authorships will be given, who is going to be acting as the first author, who is going to act as the corresponding author, right? How the intellectual properties will be handled, how to share the integrity, privacy, and security of whatever data you have collected. So these all things need to be taken care properly so that the collaboration is going to work. Increasing collaboration must involve the institution, or what kind of transfer agreement, intellectual property, or mainly in terms of what kind of compliance is there, like compliance in terms of whether any kind of, what are the budget of the overall project, are you going to do some kind of experiment in animals or any kind of human beings. If you are doing some experiment related to animals and human beings, you need to disclose that thing, right, in the research paper, right? Any kind of conflict is there, right, that needs to be again disclosed. Now, what is the end point, what is the end goal, what could be the final product you are guessing that you are going to get out of doing the research? That is also important point. Your implementation, what is the result of your implementation, right? What is your end point, end goal out of the doing the collaborative work? That is also important factor. Now, while talking about collaboration with industry, like industry relations are desired but can be causing sometimes issues like conflict over any kind of mission. Like company may seek ownership right to invention developed at the university. You are taking maybe the particular company you are associated with, maybe they are providing you resources and funding, right? But all the development work, all the experimentation work you have conducted, but now once you have completed all the things, now the company is seeking ownership of the final product. This is a kind of conflict which arises with industry relation. Or if company develops new product for public benefit consistent with what kind of mission they are having, right? Conflict resolution, how you are discussing each and everything with the company during the agreement phase with the company, you must be making all the points very clear, right? Company needs to also make the things very clear, and the particular university also needs to make all the things very clear. Like if this kind of problem arises, like suppose you have developed a particular product, right? Now company is trying to take the patent on it and they are not allowing you to publish the work. They are going to tell the work is conducted under our supervision, so we are having the right to publish or to take the patent. So if this kind of scenario happens, while talking about in terms of students nowadays are conducting internship, so during internship maybe they have developed some kind of thing, they have conducted some kind of research, they got some good result, but now company is not allowing them to publish the work. So it will be causing issue to the student or any kind of researcher or young faculty who are all involved in this work. Next is, while talking about international collaborations, right, issues with research performed at other sites under collaborative agreement. So the principal investigator must ensure it meets the compliance requirement of the particular organization from where he is taking the researcher, and the particular company which is actually having the PI is from whichever organization. Both the company and the particular organization must be agreeing with all the compliance requirement, and these things should be made very clear during the initial agreement of collaboration. Now, while talking about this thing in terms of international collaboration, some restriction of data sharing is there, like safety of the data, right? Or maybe some of the equipments you are trying to do work with, shipping will be difficult if you are trying to take the thing, or maybe some kind of security problem may be there. So if some this kind of problems arises, once you have started collaborating, once you have conducted the research, after that, if these kind of issues are going to be arising, it will be creating a very big issue, very havoc scenario. Now, while talking about the issues while collaborating in terms of student or young faculty or fellows, so the main issue arises in this scenario will be in terms of credit conflicts, right? They need to publish the work, right? But maybe sometimes some conflict arises during the placement of the authors. Who is going to lead the work? Who is going to act as the called as corresponding author? Who is going to act as the first author? Who is going to act as which number? Right. Next is, while talking about the conflict of interest, right? Maybe in terms of off-campus challenges, research compliance will be there, or maybe some kind of security, federal guidelines, government guidelines. Based on that, maybe issues are arising. Your university has some compliance in terms of regulations are there, but recently after the collaboration, during the collaboration, the rules and regulations are something different. After you have collaborated with a particular organization, university has changed some of the guidelines for collaboration. Now it will be creating a problem at the latter position. What kind of uncertainties are there? What kind of cultural sensitivities are there? That needs to be checked. Now, as I said earlier, also communication is one of the key aspects while talking about any kind of collaboration. The key aspect of collaboration is communication. So you need to have a proper plan of action, how you are going to do the work, who is going to do which kind of work, how you are going to communicate with your peers, co-authors, co-researchers, and all, share finding, how you are going to share your research result, right? How you are going to check what others are doing. It's not like only you are working, others are not doing any kind of thing. How you are going to get this information, how you are going to discuss about if any kind of problem you are getting, how you are going to solve it, right? What are the important milestone, or what are the important changes made in the particular collaboration during the particular activity, right? And any kind of development, whatever development strategies are there, how you are going to communicate with your peers. These are some of the important factors while talking about collaboration. Now, management plans are also there, like transfer of material or trying to do some kind of experiment with animals or subject, how you are going to deal with this kind of thing. During the very initial phase of your collaborative work, you need to have these things made very clear. If you are trying to do some kind of human trial or some kind of clinical trial or some kind of trial in animals, how you are going to deal with this thing. Do you have the proper permission from the research ethics committee? Because these are all coming as parts of your ethical policies, right? So doing some kind of clinical trial, ethical regulation, ethical permissions are required. So now, while talking about the management plan, right, it should be covering all the compliances. That means it must ensure all the works are going on the track, everything is done with kind of proper guidance, right? Everything, whatever the collaboration, suppose you are collaborating for a particular purpose, as the end goal, once your product is developed, is it actually whatever product you got, is it according to the collaboration? Whatever result you have initially thought, are you getting the same result or not? These are all very important thing. Another one is the intellectual property, right? Who has actually done the work, right? Suppose you are collaborating with a particular organization. So what kind of intellectual property agreement you have done? While going with any kind of collaborative work, this intellectual property agreement is kind of very important. Like once you have developed the product, who is going to take the ownership? Have you completed the work, or is it the company who is going to get the ownership? So these all things need to be made very clear while talking about the collaborative research. So this is all what I have to say about the collaboration. In terms of collaborative research, it is actually a very satisfying thing when you have finally developed the product, or when you get the final outcome, whatever you have actually expected. So this is all about my discussion in terms of your collaborative research.
Thank you very much for this session and given us a brief introductions about research collaboration and explain different aspects of research collaboration related to industry and international industry collaboration. Thank you very much. If anybody have any question, please raise your hand in chat box. Yes. Yes, Mr. Sam Johnson, over to you.
Hello there. I've tried not to ask questions throughout this series, but I'd love to ask Dr. Chatterjee. You've given us so many examples of how to make a collaborative partnership or research project succeed. Without wanting it to sound like an interview, have you ever been involved in a project where it hasn't succeeded and it had to be turned around halfway through? Are there any handy tips about how we can actually turn something back on track after it's gone off track?
Generally talking about this real-time scenario, I have not till date I have not collaborated directly for any kind of project work, but I am having collaborative works in terms of research. I'm having n number of research work with various kind of group. I generally work with peoples from Egypt. I work with peoples from Afghanistan, Istanbul, Turkey. If you can see my research paper, it is all the research majorly I am actually working with collaborative kind of research, because the thing is individually doing the thing will be kind of very time taking and all. So that much time for devoting on one particular work, it will be difficult. So that is the reason I generally prefer collaborative research. If you can check my profile in terms of Google Scholar, you will get all the works are related to different things. Recently, I have worked in a research paper which is a collaborative work from India, Nepal, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Afghanistan, I guess. So like I have distributed the works with my peers. You need to do this kind of thing. You need to do this kind of thing. But if you are directly asking me about any kind of project, so right till now, I have not directly dealt with any kind of project.
Do both of us have any paper that we have done together?
Yes, that random forest one, COVID random forest.
That has 134 citation.
Yes, something like that.
1 year.
It's a 2020's research work.
Yes, yes. We did one collaborative work together, and it was quite interesting.
Yes.
To make sure.
This is related to COVID scenario, random boosting methodology for a random boosting forest for COVID scenario, patient prediction.
Yes, yes. Okay. Any other question? Sania?
No.
you can hand over back to Sam now.
Okay. Now I hand over to Miss Sam Johnson to say something about related to this amazing session.
Moy, remove the screen.
Thank you very much, Sanya. Thank you. And thank you to Dr. Chatterjee. That was, again, a fascinating presentation. And the message, I think it sort of sums up a lot of the information that we've been covering over the last 4 weeks. Communicate, communicate, communicate. That came across so strongly, whether it's in terms of research collaboration, whether it's in terms of how to present yourself professionally, how to present yourself through your CV or LinkedIn, the communication and clear articulation of all aspects of whatever you're undertaking seems to be such a crucial element. So yes, so thank you so much. I thought that was so illustrative and so detailed, looking at the benefits of collaboration, but also the complexities of it. And what struck me very much, it's almost like Olympic training before an event. Before the project actually has to take place, there are months and months and months of getting everything in place beforehand. Or it's like creating a film. All those months of pre-production. That's
you have to be. You have to make all the plans ready. Actual work will be starting if your complete plan is ready, so that you are not going to stuck. If your plan is proper, things are going to be done. If you can plan properly, you can consider 50% of your work is done.
Yeah,
proper plan is very much required in this condition.
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting that actually sometimes we get so involved in and excited about launching a project that actually the timeliness of launching a project really depends upon whether everything is in place beforehand. Rather than our enthusiasm or excitement about it. So I mean, that was so useful, and I do hope all of our guests tonight, I do hope all of our participants can really see the value of that, you know, as it could impact upon their own studies and potential careers going forward. So thank you so much, Dr. Chatterjee. And I'm just going to share my screen now because we have this for you, and we'll make that large. And if I could please present this to you and say thank you so much for your time this evening. Thank you for joining us in Bolton, as it were, although of course you are on the other side of the world, and for giving your time and for covering for your colleague. That's really, really appreciated. And I'm sure everybody else this evening appreciates that also. I'm going to stop sharing that. And I know Dr. Celestine will send one of those to you later. But I just want to say as well, finally, as the last talk of the series, thank you very much to Dr. Celestine. Thank you for bringing such fantastic speakers from all around the world to us. And they've been both a pleasure, but also, as I say, so intellectually stimulating. So I would ask all of the participants in the group this evening, if we may, to turn off your mics, and can we give a round of applause both to Dr. Chatterjee and also to Dr. Celestine for a fantastic series. So if we could all give a good
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, let's see all those faces of those happy students. Let's see you. Congratulations! It's been a really excellent series, and also thank you obviously to our students for continuing to support this, and hopefully, I mean, we may have some more next semester, or I don't know. We'll see. All right, but I'll hand over now to Dr. Celestine to just round up everything for the evening, if I may, and just to say thank you again, Dr. Chatterjee. That was fantastic talk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. It was beautiful. You know, just last few hours, and you took up this challenge. It shows our relationship is very good, and I really appreciate. When Sandeep told me, I was actually in a research meeting when he sent the message. You know, that he was sick, and I'm like, oh my God, what will happen? So my head was already going. And I'm someone, anything can happen anytime. So it makes us to be ready, you know. Yes. So the first thing I told him, I said, hey, I need a backup, and I need to design something, and I need by the time I finished, before I communicated back to Sam, I've already done all the homework to make sure everything was fine. And that was why I gave you a call. And then you took up the challenge. And it's already late. It's midnight there.
Yes.
So we really appreciate this time.
Yeah, thank you.
Now
Thank you
we're
so
going
much.
to release you to go and sleep.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for coming. And we hope, like the head of school have said, we'll have something much more. And we'll get back again to you. Remember, paper publication is very good with paper publication. And then, so if you also have paper publication, we'll also pass through him while we'll do more.
Yes.
We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. Thank you very much. And good night, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Sure. Dr. Celestine, I request you to please share me the link of this video.
Sure, definitely. I will get it. You'll get it. And we'll also put it in our YouTube page. Trust anything we do it with perfection.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you and good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.